So there's where it starts. Notice the muddy part there with the creek bed. Creek bed runs through here. It goes a long ways. A lot of water flows through this, especially after lots of rain, but it can get dry. And I'm going to be searching for gold. And if you see the muddy part there, it's where I dug up some of the soil, trying to get as close to the bedrock as possible. Skipping ahead, this is what I've got up out of the ditch. Only got half a bucket, pretty heavy. And I've got my gold materials here. I've got my big pan, kind of weed out some of the bigger stuff right away. And then I have my smaller pan. And these work great. And then once I get it reduced down more, I'll put it in something like this, just a small container. Then I can go back and further refine it and determine the grade. But I'll take this bucket, I'll pour it over into that pan and begin the process. So I got some out of there, get into this pan. I'm gonna take my water hose. And clean that off a little. And I'll sluice it around. Break all this mud up. Sorry, I'm one-handed today trying to do all this. I've many times found nails and many other types of things that come down the creek channel in heavy rains. I'm just trying to break it up, get it on through there. So I'm beginning to refine this and begin to see if there's anything in here. I have found gold in my creek bed, and most of the time it's just little slithers, very small, nothing that's in nugget form. I don't know all the terminologies. I've watched a few videos and learned a little bit, but there's probably better ways of doing this than the way I'm doing it. But I'm in for the enjoyment. It's not an everyday thing, it's just every once in a while kind of thing for me. So just stuck it back in there. So I got a lot of the big stuff out now, out of the way. So I'm in my big, empty out some of that there. I may have too much in there to shake around. It's hard to do it with one hand, but I'll take that and shake it around, run some more water over it, try to whittle it down and see if there's anything in this first set that I've gotten. You'll notice it's beginning to look a little more soupy. I shook it around, try to continue to work the sediment to the bottom. Of course, I don't have a nice creek bed to do this in with running water. I like to spray occasionally. Begin to work it out. Notice the smaller ribs over here, the larger ribs on the other side, to kind of help me clear this out, and I'll begin working on that, clearing it out. It's good to have some gloves if you got some gloves too, which I have some I think I'm going to put on, but it's a little messy, but it's part of the fun. Since I have so much in there, I'm taking my smaller bow and poured a little into it, and I'm beginning to work it now and work through some of the mud and kind of work out some of those interesting looking pieces already in there that I'm seeing just on the outset. And there's my bigger bow. So you don't want to lose those small pieces. They're hard to keep. You can lose them real easily by just dumping through them very fast. You have to take your time and work through them, get the mud off, see what settles to the bottom. I got to the bottom of my pan now. I'm going to spray some clean water in here on this and see what all I can find out of all of that. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera. I'm going to clean this up a little more. Okay, here again, Got just a little water in there, just kind of working it. Trying to work off anything. Pull anything back down that might be up on the edge. Working across those small ribs. I'm gonna put a little bit more water in it, shake it down some more. Well, I've been working it down. You can see, got down to that much there. And there's some floating pieces around that look like they might be the gold you're looking for, but that's not it. It's still some of that old white sand. Can be deceiving. Those gold. But as I continue to work it, I can probably speculate there's a few specks there in the bottom, but nothing there worth trying to keep because they're so small. And I've already found bigger flakes than that. Little pieces that really do stand out where you can see them. And maybe I'll get something on video. If not, I've got them in a vial, the ones that I found. Only from one time digging before. This is only the second time from this creek bed. But I'll just work it across those little ribs over here into the big pan. Just kind of work it out. All the big sediment, all the loose stuff, because your gold is heavier, it's more dense than the rest of the stones and rocks, so it's going to always rest in the bottom. I just take my water hose here, squirt a little in there, and do it again. And then I'll do it again. This is the normal process. I'm not going to waste much more time with this, but just wanted to show you what I continue to do until I can get rid of most of the water and I can begin to see what's resting down in the bottom of my pan. That's where the densest rock's going to be. So I'm gotten down on this one a little more, shaking it up, and I can see a few fine specks in there. These are going to be the heaviest and the most densest. It's taking me a while. I'm just on my second little run here. I've been going at it for over 30 minutes. But you can see a few specks in here. It's hard to tell from the camera, but they're very small. There's one right in there. If you can kind of see it, the center of the camera, that's one right there, the larger speck. The rest of that is just a bunch of sedimentary rock. I'll probably get that one out. At least it'd be worth my time today, knowing I got something out of it. And there's some other little fine specks here too. Sometimes you find it in your ribs as well. What I'll do now is transfer all this that you just saw into a smaller bow. I can go back and further refine that. Later today, and tell some of the Stuff hasn't come out yet. I'm gonna have to get a little more water. So I was able to get one little speck out of there, and this one, got it in my container now. Probably can't see it. And I'll just continue to work this. Might not do it all today, just kind of play around with it today. While it's off and it's overcast. A little bit harder to see the specks of gold because there's no reflection from the sun. But still shine my light on it with my camera phone. And works out okay. I hope this has been a little useful insight. And I'll just take that, transfer it to a smaller bowl, shake it out. I've been using my little shovel to dig it out of this, put it to my smaller pan, and then I'll swash it around in here, work it all the way down. Notice I don't have very much water in there. Get it down pretty low so I can see, because we're not looking for big things. I mean, we're looking for big things, but just don't usually plan on seeing big things where we're located. So just to kind of give you an idea. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Hope it's been insightful. I tried to cut out all the long boring parts. Thanks for watching.